What's up, Bram? How's everyone doing today? There we go. All right. Good to go. I had to throw on my black here. Yes. Got my hair cut. Not by me. Thank goodness. It felt nice to get back in the barber chair today. It's Friday. We made it to Friday. Thank goodness. Another weekend. And it's hot. So hopefully everyone's enjoying their Juneteenth today. Thank you. Thank you, Ray. Happy Juneteenth to everybody out there. I say everybody. There's 3 of you in here right now, so everybody. But everyone who's going to watch this later on, this aired June 19th, 2020. So hopefully everyone's enjoying themselves, making sure they're staying safe as well, because we know the cops are out, especially on Juneteenth this weekend. So hopefully you celebrate all weekend and you have a good time doing it too. And know why you're celebrating as well. I know for a lot of us, I didn't learn until about like 10 years ago what Juneteenth was, but that doesn't still negate the fact that we have the opportunity to celebrate it now. So that's a good thing. So for all the newbies, and including myself, just enjoy and know what you're celebrating for. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the show last night with Suki from Another Black Podcast. I'm going to have her co-host Dolo on here eventually one day, coming up soon. It was a great time. Good conversation. You can check it out on IGTV. It's up there now. There was 2 parts. We sat and talked for about 2 hours, just about everything going on right now. A couple different hot topics, but it was great. Same thing with today. I'm having Ian back on the show. He's going to talk all things skincare, but if you guys have any questions for him as far as skincare, his fragrance line, trying to think of the word, it's escaping me now, hand sanitizer, any of that stuff, please feel free. You can either put it in the question box right here, or you can put it in the comment section. So either way, feel free to ask us questions as we go along. I'm just waiting for Ian to join right now, and then we can get started. Should be coming in soon, and there he is. We'll get him on, and then we can get started. Sir, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I got to sit in the barber chair today, so
Good.
that made me that made me very happy. Very, very
You
happy.
look amazing.
Thank you. You
That was
too.
that was the
Skin
first thing.
always glowing.
Thank you. That was the first thing I thought when I saw you. I was like, oh my God.
Well, it's funny because I did a show last night. I was telling who was watching with Suki. She does a podcast that's on Spotify, so you can check it out. It's called Another Black Podcast. But we talked last night, and I said, I had a lady on the show, so I put myself a little bit together a little bit. So I wore a nice shirt and I wore a hat. And I got all these compliments on what I wore. So I'm like, well, then I guess I look like trash all the other shows. And now I got to I got to actually put on a shirt. So,
No, I love the floral.
yeah, I wanted to wear something black. So I decided this is what I give.
But
So,
it's good. It works though. It's a floral, but it's black. It's subdued.
yes,
It's
that's,
nice and
that's what I
masculine,
was,
but
yeah,
rich.
right. Right. That's what I was trying to give. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's yeah, I'm doing well. I'm glad it's Juneteenth. I think it's a beautiful day. I enjoy seeing so much like solidarity. I think around the Juneteenth celebration this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was a little aggressive, in pushing it, but I think rightfully so. I think it's
That's
something
good.
that hasn't been celebrated, or even really been discussed or known, by so many people for such a long time, and there's a really significant period in our history. So.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I found out about it. I went to Howard's homecoming, and I was overwhelmed, it being my first HBCU homecoming. But then to learn about it, especially knowing someone from Texas, and they did celebrate it a lot. Like I said, for any newbies out there or anybody, just embrace it all. And like I was telling Suki last night, what I have enjoyed throughout this entire process of what's going on is that I've been able to connect to so many more Black and brown people through social media, whether it be Instagram or Facebook, that I might not have connected with before all of this. So I think it's something that's great, and I think it's empowered all of us to be a little bit better and do better for each other. So
Absolutely, I completely agree. It's definitely a collective sort of effort. It's a group effort. I think it requires everybody's hands on from everyone.
yeah, definitely. Well, we'll get started. For the people who are watching, if you didn't watch the show before, I've had Ian on before, but this is Ian Edwards, owner, CEO of 6'4" out of Washington, D.C. Now, it's always my fault, and I was thinking about this. I always say we're going to talk all things skincare, but you do more than just skincare. So we're definitely going to we're going to touch all bases with that. And I saw a post. So you're back taking appointments now, right?
Yeah, I'm back taking clients. The Wednesday was the first day. I had a couple people who were trying to get in early, so I got them in, and then yesterday and today was kind of like the first official days that we started seeing people again. So that was really good.
How's it feel?
I missed it. I
Yeah.
miss working with my clients. I miss touching people's skin. It's I think of it kind of like as art, honestly. I've had different phases where I've thought about my craft or what I do in different ways, and now I've kind of settled on that it is art. I think from the products themselves to the actual services that we provide, it's and I think art shows up in many different forms, and what I do I think is certainly artistic in a way. At least it feels that way for me. So I yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm glad to see everybody again. I'm glad to see the response. And like I said, definitely good to kind of be back hands-on with people again.
Good. And remind people who don't follow you or this their first time watching you, what services you do provide.
So I'm a master esthetician, and we provide skincare services. Anything from your classic facials, featuring extractions, treatments for dry skin, treatments for oily skin, normal combination, all the way to chemical peels, microdermabrasion, dermaplaning. So a wide array of sort of advanced treatments, as well as just sort of traditional treatments. And our focus is primarily sort of skin of color. That is, I think, the sort of specialty. But we have clients of every race, every nationality, and every age group as well. I think it's important for younger people to start taking care of their skin, sort of as a lifestyle, I think, instead of thinking of it as a sort of afterthought or sort of extra steps.
I'm glad you say that, because that kind of just had popped a question in my head. Kind of how weight training goes, and people will always argue that sometimes doing it too early can stunt someone's growth. When it comes to skincare and someone of age and someone who might be a little bit younger, is there ever a time too young to start? Because I think of someone maybe going through getting acne, and them going through puberty, kind of just letting it happen, or should they take care of it right away?
That's a really good. I don't think anyone's ever asked that question in quite that way. I've gotten, what's too young to start, or if there's going to be some sort of, I think, detrimental effect from starting too soon. I think that is a two-part answer for that. The first part is going to be no. I think just starting a basic regimen is no different from teaching young kids to brush their teeth or to wash their bodies a certain way and to focus on certain areas. The skin on our faces, if functionally it's different from the skin on our body, but in terms of the fact that it needs care, it's no different from any other part of our body. Our heads aren't sort of separate entities, you know. So the skin is all connected, and I think we should kind of treat it that way, in the sense that we learn to take care of it from an early age. I think that the caveat to that is when you start introducing younger kids to really sort of advanced formulas or advanced treatments and things like that they don't really need at that time. But I definitely think starting them really early on just a basic regimen. Hey, wash your face. Use this face wash to wash your face with. And, you know, here's a moisturizer. I think just something as basic as those 2 steps for really young kids is incredibly foundational for helping them to develop, I think, just an appreciation for skincare and wellness from a really young age.
Yeah. So I'm going to age myself here because I don't see it as much now as I did when I was in middle school. And when we actually got stuff handed to us in middle school, like gym class, the pads, the wipes, how essential. Yeah. And I'm like, it just made me think about it it just made me think about, like, I don't see those anymore, or as much as them pushing that. Is it a trend, or did we just move away from taking care of our face?
I think maybe a little bit of both, because skincare is sort of trendy now. Everyone has a skincare line. Everyone knows, you know, everyone has the best sort of skincare tips.
Right.
I'm going to call shenanigans on that. Although I have to say, I'm very surprised, though, by the amount of sort of knowledge that I see from non-professionals, because people are really into it now. I do think that we still have to, like, I saw a really cute meme, I think it was maybe either earlier today or the other day, where they were talking about a 12-year-old's skincare tips and having like 120,000 followers, you know.
Wow.
But it's true. Yeah, you know, I'm seeing all these like younger kids like popping up with these, you know, incredible sort of following. And it's like, you know, how did this happen? But I think, to circle back around, I think that I think there's still a lot of misinformation online available as well that I think people need to kind of move away from. And so I think it's really important that consumers are becoming more educated and sort of more self-sufficient in their ideas about how their skin functions, which is what my goal always is for all of my clients, and what I think is should be a good goal for any skincare company, because the more you empower your clients, the more they're going to seek out either your services or your products, or both. Again, on the other hand, back to what you said about you know, sort of, is it sort of fading away that people are taking care of their skin? I don't think so much as that. I just think that the marketing sort of techniques that the different beauty and skincare companies are coming from is very sort of different. They are, and also we have to remember too, we're not in a teenage group anymore either. So a lot of the targeted marketing we're not going to really see, because we're not their target demographic anymore. Even watching television, I think that, you know, from what it is that we watch, they're going to be watching different things. So the marketing is going to reflect back a little bit differently to them. I think it's a mixed bag. I think there are a lot of people who are really, really into skincare now and are really trying to be conscious about developing a regimen, sticking to it, going to see an esthetician regularly, figuring out their own sort of skincare procedures. And then you still have another group of people who are really sort of new to the skincare, not even the industry, but even just new to skincare in general. Some people don't even wash their face. So I think there's a mix of both consumers. I hope that question.
No, it did. Yeah, it really did. Dwayne had brought up a good point too. Is body care overall isn't pushed in school anymore. It's definitely true. No one does. And Dwayne actually has a question here. Do you believe in natural skincare or using a chemical approach?
I think that I think it's really up to the individual. It's really totally up to you whether you adopt a totally natural skincare regimen versus a sort of a totally chemical-based skincare regimen, which some people have as well. Personally, I think that for me, I find a sort of mix of both to be sort of healthy. We still have to remember that the skin is it's part of our biology. So it's a living, breathing, thing, just as our body is. So my idea is that if you wouldn't totally subsist on a sort of chemical based sort of food diet, why should you treat your skin the same way? Now, I am a huge fan of chemicals because I think that they're really necessary. Just like vitamins. Vitamins, technically, if we think about it, are chemicals. They're synthesized and, packed into this little sort of pill that we can consume to, help give us what we need in a really quick and easy sort of way, which is what advanced skincare sort of does. So it delivers these sort of bursts of energy, nutrients, whatever may have you in this sort of concentrated form, but it's not something that I think you should do over time. Like you're not gonna live off a diet of vitamins, So I think that having both, I think, is really good approach for me. There's certain things I'm not going to put on my face either, though, that are natural. So I kind of steer away from certain things. I would do. I might do a yogurt mask, for example. That's natural, but I wouldn't turn around and use baking soda on my face either, for example. And I know a lot of people use baking soda as an exfoliant. So I think that it's kind of good to know, if you are going to go totally natural, what is good to use on your skin and what isn't good to use on your skin. You first have to know your skin type, and then if you have any sort of associated skin conditions, acne, hyperpigmentation, or dark spots, wrinkles that you're trying to get rid of, boils or pustules or different things like that. I think you should really know what it is that you're looking at on your skin, or at least have some basic understanding, and try and ask someone or figure out, is this natural thing really going to work for me? Is it going to benefit me? Because a lot of people, I see a lot of natural sort of based remedies that I feel like sometimes end up causing more damage in the long run than being helpful to people. So I think a mixed approach, personally, I think is sort of the best sort of road to take. And that's kind of what I advise my clients. I try to give them a healthy mix of, if they want some natural products, kind of steer them in the right direction. But definitely, also insert some chemicals in there to help you kind of nurture your own sort of natural skin process.
Awesome. On that line, I was going to ask, he said, okay, true. So yeah, you answered it. Being black,
Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned a little bit, in a world full of skincare made for people not of our color.
Mm-hmm.
How do we navigate those waters, and without going down the slippery slope, but of the light skin versus dark skin debate?
Mm-hmm.
How much do we take that into account as well when we're looking for our skincare and what we should do for our skin?
I think that there are a lot of products now on the market that cater to skin of color or melanated skin that I think are really, really great. And
Besides yours?
Yeah, besides my thinking. But yeah, I think that there's a range of products out here that I think that consumers can find now that I think are really, really useful and really helpful. In fact, there are a bunch of different brands that I like to try other brands beside my own. Of course, I always will promote my own brand, but
right.
I like other things, from other people as well. And I think that's how I learn and grow, and I'm able to develop my products better. I think that once you get into specifically the Black community, light skin versus dark skin, I think that generally speaking, most products are going to be the same. Like your face washes, your toners, your serums are going to be the same. Your moisturizers are going to be the same. I think where you start to notice the biggest difference is going to be in makeup. Whether that's men or women wearing makeup. And then when you start to get into advanced treatments like chemical peels, primarily chemical peels, but maybe even sometimes like microdermabrasion. And the reason for that is because there's something that we use called the Fitzpatrick scale, and it's numbered 1 through 6. And that determines the Fitzpatrick scale, where you land on the Fitzpatrick scale specifically is determined by sort of your complexion and your ethnicity. And the reason for that is because it sort of breaks down your tendency to sort of tan in the sun. And by that, we can determine, okay, well, what's going to be the tendency for you to sort of maybe hyperpigment or experience some sort of damage from this chemical peel or, this advanced sort of treatment. 4 and below, so 4, 5, and 6, usually are darker skin tones. So typically there are going to be certain chemical peels that we kind of tend to stay away from, or at least I like to stay away from with darker skin, because the darker that the skin is, the higher the likelihood is that the skin can hyperpigment or turn darker sort of in an uncontrolled sort of way. You can get like little splotches and things like that. That's not all the time. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen, but we pay attention to that specifically. So skin complexion, specifically, again, like I said, when we're talking about chemical peels or in some cases microdermabrasion. But in terms of your general skincare, I don't really think that that's much of a consideration, within the Black community. If you're light skin, you're dark skin, something between, you can use the same general products.
Okay. If you've never done a microdermabrasion, is there ever a time, we talked about starting too early, but is there ever a time that you can start too late? I've never done one personally. The chemical peels or anything like that. It doesn't scare me. I just haven't been moved to do it yet. Is there ever such a, and plus I'm not in DC, so I can't see you, but is there, is it ever a time to start too late, or?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that the earlier you can start, especially learning how to manage your own skin, and if you're going to go in for advanced treatments, if you're going to go see an esthetician or a dermatologist or some skincare professional, I think that it is always, of course, better the earlier you can start. The more you can learn about taking care of yourself, I think the better. And that's what it is. That's why I equate skincare to wellness, because that's really what it is. We can sort of instill that in people, I think the better. Did we freeze a little bit? Are we good? We're good?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I got you back now. All right.
Perfect. No, I think that the sooner that you can start learning about taking care of your skin and taking care of yourself and just learning the art of wellness, and which I think should really be a lifestyle, I think the better. But on the other end of the spectrum, some people don't really get exposed to it until much later in life, and that's totally fine. If you're in your 50s or 60s or even 70s, I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people who have never had a facial in their entire life, and maybe on their bucket list was to get a facial and they're 70, 80 years old, 90 years old. And I think that's fabulous, if you get started at that age. But I don't think that there's ever a time that's too late to get started. Now I do think that there's a point at which you can only reverse but so much, especially just doing like topical treatments like this. You gotta have to go start looking at Botox or fillers or even sort of surgery, sort of surgical procedures and different things like that. So there's only so much we can do, but
right. I want to get into that in a little bit, but the first thing that's been kind of burning me a little bit is when it comes to pimples, just your common pimple. And I know there's two trains of thought. I've always just kind of like, because I only get one, just about one a month, if that. And I'm like, right away, I want to pop it right away. But then, you hear that you just should just leave it alone and let it come to head. And what is your suggestion on just, your normal everyday pimple?
Yeah. I'm going to say leave it alone.
Okay.
I don't touch, when I have like breakouts and different things like that on my face, which I have one right now, but I don't.
Me too. Right.
I don't go
right
poking
there.
with it. Yeah, see, I couldn't even see it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't go poking with it. I advise my clients not to do that either. I know that it can be tempting sometimes, but I mean, would you poke at something like a scab or a scar that's on your arm? I think that again, we get
right.
well, like people like
Yeah.
poking and stuff, and I tell people like, no, please don't do that. But if you do feel the need to do so, because some people just absolutely cannot avoid like poking, their face or squeezing their pimples or zits, I recommend making sure that you wash your hands first. Make sure that you probably wash that area as well, because you don't want to, once you open that up, the likelihood that you can reintroduce outside or foreign bacteria into the open sore is very high,
Right.
especially if you
Okay.
haven't washed your hands. So I say wash your hands, wash that area, get you a warm towel, and kind of hold that towel over it, and just kind of do that. And if you have maybe like some peroxide, or even there are certain like little tubes of salicylic acid, you can find it over the counter. It's like 2% salicylic acid, usually like Walmart or Rite Aid or CVS or something like that. In the I don't know, it's either going to be in the skincare aisle or maybe in like the antiseptic aisle, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but it's probably in the skincare aisle. But it's 2% salicylic acid, and you can just dab it on there when you do that, and that should help to drain out some of that oil. But you need to make sure that once you do that, you get everything out of there, because otherwise you're just leaving it open to kind of come back. And that's why I usually advise people to not do it anyway, because most people aren't
Right.
doing the right
They
way.
just pop it and then they're
They
done.
just pop
They're
it.
done.
Yeah,
Right.
I will say that though, if you like, I know you said that. I'm sorry, I'm trying to adjust.
No, you're fine.
I know you said that you have, just like maybe like one a month or something like that.
I'll get one. Yeah, one.
Yeah, if it's like in some random place, and if you don't hyperpigment, very much, like if you don't, notice much from it, I think there's some people who just don't. Some people's skin is just very resilient and can kind of take stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
not.
could say.
Yeah,
That's
see,
it.
I wouldn't recommend that you pop that.
Well, no, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm
Yeah.
like, why are you there? But yeah.
I understand. I got, like I said, this one right here, but I'm not messing with it though.
Right. So Dwayne had a really good question.
Yeah.
What are some tips for keeping your skin looking great in the summer, especially if you have a combination skin or just oily?
Oh, I had a client today, actually, earlier today, and we were talking about oily skin. I think that keeping like a fresh, like white towel or something like that with you, like you can get like a 6-pack from Target or something like that. I think the ones from Target are maybe a little bit softer than the ones from Walmart, like just because I know Target and Walmart both have like the little cheap 6 or 12-pack or whatever. I find the ones from Target to be a little less abrasive. So if you guys, and they're roughly about the same price, but I recommend maybe keeping one of those and just kind of dabbing your face, if you feel like you're getting oily or sweaty. A lot of people rub their face either with their hands, or they take a towel or a handkerchief. If you're really oily anyway, what we call like excessively or overly sebaceous, you're just really going to exacerbate that, especially if it's hot outside. You're like being really abrasive to your face. Your skin is trying to, because our bodies don't produce water, they only produce oil, sebum, so they're going to try and lubricate the skin anyway, that they can. That's their job. Our body's job is to sort of keep us healthy and well moisturized, as much as it can. But yeah, I think that rubbing it like that is probably not the best way. So get you a little towel or something like that. That's exactly what those little blotting strips are for. They absorb oil. It's like a really sort of fine, like microfiber or like rice paper or something like that, and it just blots it up. But the reason I suggest those towels is because they're cotton, and cotton is absorbent. It's really good for absorbing water, but it can kind of get some of that oil too off the skin. And I think honestly that's really the best way. Maybe keep you a little spritzer or a mister or something like that to keep your skin constantly hydrated and to help kind of cool you down. But I would stay away from very sort of heavy lotions or creams, because those are going to make you sweat more. I definitely say continue to wear your sunscreen if you're doing so. If you're not doing so, invest in a good sunscreen. And then I think that also another tendency that I think I see from people to do is to sort of wash their face with really hot water, I guess, to kind of try and like break down some of that oil and stuff. But I think that that's the wrong sort of approach to take, because again, it causes the skin to sort of, like, oh, you're stripping everything, let me go ahead and produce some more. And And I think really the same goes for people who are dry too, because if you're dry, you don't want to dry out skin that's already, you know, sort of suffering and doesn't have enough moisture either. So, I see a comment from my end. It says somebody says sunscreen doesn't help.
Yeah, sunscreen doesn't help his skin. Why?
Can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by that? Because I'm a little bit confused. No.
Are you talking about as far as protection goes, or keeping your face moisturized?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, while he's typing, we're waiting for a little elaboration there. How good are the combinations of moisturizer plus sunscreen? I mean, are we getting the same thing, or should we just do straight up sun? I'm going to be quite honest. I always forget. Oh, he's talking about protection.
So my recommendation for a sunscreen is going to be minimum SPF 30 to 35, preferably 35. So about 35 or higher. I said once you start getting into like the 150 sort of like sunscreen territory, that's kind of gimmicky. But I think maybe like between 35 and maybe 75, maybe 90 or so is good. But it should be applied or reapplied every 2 hours. And that's just because after about 2 hours, the efficacy is just not as effective anymore. You know, the purpose of sunscreen is to sort of, it acts as a barrier, you know, against the sun, but it does kind of sort of break down and sort of wear off. We sweat it out, you know, we wipe our faces and different things like that. So after about 2 hours after proper application, it's just kind of not good anymore. You just need to reapply it. But if you're saying that you're having a problem with protection, oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, so Ariel is my friend. She's my sister. She is also a fellow master esthetician as well. And she said using a cleansing oil really helps to prep the skin before your regular face wash. That is really, really true, and that's a really great point. Ariel and I are actually going to be working together, so we're happy to be out. Yeah. She's amazing. So
as soon as you come back, let's say you do, because as I was saying, I'll forget. I just go outside. I'm one of those persons who's I just throw my clothes on and I run outside. And obviously, being out here in the Nevada sun, being in the desert, I take it all in. But if we are applying sunscreen every 2 hours, then immediately when I get home, should I then wash my face again to get rid of that sunscreen, or is it okay to leave on? I'm the lazy type when it comes to it sometimes. So I'll be like, oh, I put it on and that's it, you know, for the day.
I get it. So I'm of the 2 time a day wash your face. Yeah. But I do tell people, I say that I feel like if you're only going to wash your face one time, I feel like it should be in the evening after you get home. And that's just because of like environmental debris and like dirt and, you know, just sometimes people spit when they talk and, you know, we get all of that sort of accumulates on the face throughout the day. So I think it's wise if you're only going to wash your face one time than to do it at night before you go to sleep, because you don't want to transfer all this onto your pillow and be sleeping with it on your face. Is it necessary to wash your sunscreen off as soon as you get in the house? No, not necessarily. But, you know, if you're going to wash your face and you think that, especially because some sunscreens feel tackier, stickier on the skin. Some of them sit a little heavier on the skin. Unless you get a specifically like invisible sunscreen or something that's like a chemical based sunscreen. If you get one of the like a zinc oxide or something like that, one of those, it's going to sit on the face, especially if you're darker skin, and you're really going to see that. You would definitely want to wash that off your face because you can feel it, and the texture just doesn't feel that great.
Now, with everyone wearing masks and such, and with COVID going around, how important is it really to be washing our face every day? I don't know what the CDC guidelines as far as it actually sticking to our skin or anything like that, but I mean, can it enhance if I don't wash that kind of, because, you know, like you said, I could have all this dirt on my face and then lay down on my pillow. How do I know that when I lay down, like I don't have anything else?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I can't speak to that definitively from a
Right.
medical standpoint. But just I think from the perspective of an esthetician, and I think from what I consider to be a sort of pragmatic, sort of practical, sort of common sense approach, is if you're going to be washing your hands, the guidance is to wash your hands. I think that the guidance should be to maybe follow suit with that, or my recommendation rather would be to follow suit with that and wash your face, because we touch our face inadvertently so many times, and I can't tell you the number of people who I've seen with these gloves on and things like that and driving with them, and they're touching their steering wheel, not thinking anything of it, and then the next day maybe they don't use gloves, or they're not using gloves all day, and then they've touched the steering wheel, now they touch themselves. And even without the gloves, people do that, but I think especially with the gloves, it really highlights the fact that people sort of unconsciously go through and touch stuff all day, and especially end up touching our faces a little bit later on. So I think that a good rule of thumb right now with respect to COVID, but even outside of it, again, getting back to the idea of just taking care of your skin just in general, I think that washing your face when you get in, I think is just a good sort of, general rule. Or at least before you go to sleep, rather, I should say. You don't have to do it as soon as you walk in the house. But I think that, if you shower before you go to sleep, wash your face before you go to sleep.
Now, I wanted to clear up another misconception. We're not going to go there, but another misconception. And we talked about this on the first show, but for the people who didn't watch, obviously this will be great for them. But as far as what we eat, and in regards to eating oily foods, then creating a situation as far as a breakout is concerned, how are those two closely related, if at all, anything? And I'm not saying an instant breakout, but okay, I decide to eat chocolate tonight, or I decide to eat fried chicken, which I don't, but something fried, and then tomorrow I now have, or tomorrow night now I have a breakout on my face. How related are those two, if any?
So excellent. You have excellent questions tonight. Yes, I appreciate this. Yeah, it's definitely keeping the flow. I think that generally speaking, there is, for me at least, again, and I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian, nor am I'm not a doctor either, so I can't say from a medical standpoint. But again, speaking as an esthetician and having studied biology and things like that, I think that I think there's no direct. I'm not going to say that there's a direct link between eating something and then turning around and breaking out. To the extent that there is, I think that's going to be on a very individual sort of basis, and I think that it's an exception rather than the rule. I know a lot of people kind of feel like that, but I think that that's just sort of anecdotal stuff that people have picked up, or just these sort of ideas that people develop, like, I had some chocolate tonight and I kind of broke out. I think that if you have maybe a sensitivity, to a particular food, maybe dairy or something like that, I think that can be a contributing factor. If something like, that is definitely a possibility that something like that can happen. But I think for the average person, our biology generally doesn't function like that. You usually don't consume something and then it sort of immediately kind of manifests itself, especially like, on your face. I think that maintaining a good diet overall, I think is probably just the best practice. If you feel like,
so I know, like, Dwayne here made a comment, and I can attest to Dwayne's fitness, and he teaches fitness classes in great shape. He said, I love pizza, however I get so oily the very next day, evening, 2 days straight. So on an individual basis, just like you were saying, it could be.
So that I think is a little bit different. Still related. I don't think that, generally speaking, that tends to be, the course for the average person. But with that, I can see that kind of, because some people tend to just have active oil glands anyway, active sebaceous glands anyway. And I think that sometimes if you're eating something, if your diet is especially oily that day, I think that oil sort of coursing through the body is because our bodies digest oil in a very different way than it would digest a piece of chocolate.
Okay.
And so sometimes our body has to rid itself, of that oil. Like, chocolate kind of, it kind of follows the sort of usual, sort of track of digestion. I think oils sort of filter and process through our bodies a little differently. Again, we don't just have oil flowing through our veins or anything like that. But I think that for facial skin, we can definitely see some increased secretion from the oil glands if you're already tend to be a pretty oily person, and then you have a diet that is reflected really high in oil intake.
And that makes me wonder, and I don't know if you'd be able to answer it, again, not coming from the doctor's standpoint, because I would think if someone who is up to their fitness and up to their nutrition and they don't eat a normal, or they don't eat a regularly oily, food or an oily diet, will it pop up on them quicker than someone who is constantly eating oil, because their body's not, and that's why I'm thinking. So
Could be.
Again, I'm not a doctor, so
yeah, it could be. That's a really interesting theory, and there is probably some research out there to support that, one way or the other. I don't have it in front of me, but I definitely think that's something I'm curious about, and I'll look into sort of the correlation between sort of a traditionally non-oily diet, and then pardon me, and you have a really sort of high influx of oil, at any one given time, as your body, maybe your body is trying to like metabolize it, or get it out of you, and it just kind of, shows up in your skin. I think that, so I'll say this, certainly if that's your personal experience and that's something that you find to be true, for you, if you don't experience that normally, and then you eat something like pizza or, like a really nice steak or something like that, I would say then, like, what's best for you, maybe I would say maybe kind of stay away from that. Ariel also mentioned that green tea is a great daily antioxidant for your skin. If you're going to have some pizza or something like that, or steak, and you really want it, make sure that you're paying attention to your skincare regimen. Make sure that you're washing your face consistently with a wash that supports your skin. Have a cup of green tea along, with your pizza, or maybe before, or, maybe drink a little extra water or something like that to help, help your body kind of, help itself out. So I would say, maybe do it in moderation. I can't really tell people how to eat or what to eat because I love pizza. And I don't work out like that. So I probably if he is here in DC, let me tell you, because this Rona has definitely done a number.
He does online. He does do stuff online. I'll have to connect you to, and then you can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm here for it.
Well, Ariel brings up a good point to the green tea. I would drink green tea every now and then. That I really care about gut health when it comes to fitness and physical health. But I wanted to ask, because I take biotin. I take a whole bunch of multivitamins and vitamins in general just to keep my body up to par. But how good are those little supplements to take alongside doing everything with the, washing your face and moisturizing your face? Do they actually really help, or is it just kind of a placebo? Because biotin will always be advertised as hair, skin, and nails. Like, I'm going to have this luscious hair because I'm taking biotin. I mean, I do, but I think that's just good genes.
Well, you see, I have my hat on, so I have to up my biotin intake.
Right. How much do they actually help?
So I think that that to the extent that they do, I would always err toward the more natural form of that. So I know we talked about natural versus chemicals in skincare earlier, but I think when it comes to like a green tea, for example, unless you can find a verified high quality sort of green tea, either extract or supplement, I would say just finding you a really high quality green tea to drink is really good. It has catechins, it has the polyphenols, the ECGC, I think I'm pronouncing that right, or EGCG, I forget what it is, but all of these just really, really, really great things that you're going to find in green tea that I think sometimes might get a little bit lost in sort of supplemental form or different things like that. Same with I don't know, maybe like liquid collagen or something like that, like hydrolyzed collagen that people drink. And I think to be had with like cooler sort of drinks because collagen is heat sensitive, for example. So you don't want to take a collagen supplement with, with like a tea, a hot tea or a coffee or something like that. You want to drink that with some cool water or like a juice or something. So I think that sticking to the more natural forms, I would always suggest that, but that's not to say that there aren't some formulas out here that are really beneficial or made by, a really good company that has a high level of integrity and make sure that, the supplement does what it says it's going to do. That said, I know that there's a lot of crap. And I think that you would probably be the sort of go-to. I would defer, to your judgment, on that, because I know that you're, very big into fitness. And I know you probably have a lot of sort of brands that you like or a lot of sort of products that you like,
Right.
And I'm pretty sure you've probably cycled through a lot of things that you tried and you're like, this is kind of crap, or, oh, hey, I really like this. And I think the same should be said for any consumer. How to go about doing that, I don't know, because not everybody has money to waste. I know I've wasted a lot of money on some crap stuff before myself. But I really think that it ultimately boils down to experience. I think that trying things should be an experience in and of itself, good and bad. If it's something that's not good, you just don't use it anymore. But if it's good, if you enjoy it, you found something new that you can incorporate and that you can adopt and like that makes you feel good. So I think that we should change the sort of thinking around trying new products. Some people are very eager to try new products. Some people are like, oh yes, this new thing, I like that. I'm like that. I have my Ariel is like that. I have other friends, who are just like that. But you have some people who are a little bit more reticent, toward new things, and that's perfectly fine. That's understandable. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that if we change the sort of collective approach and allow ourselves to enjoy that experience of washing your face, trying this product. Oh, how does this serum feel? Same with fragrance. Like spray a fragrance on and enjoy it just because look, I got this whole skincare line. I have these fragrances right here. Spray it on. This is one of my favorites. This is the Cedar and White Musk. So, just spray a fragrance on and enjoy it. And I really feel like just like working out.
Well, that's what I was going to say, and having conversations with you, and obviously doing this. What I've learned is it's a great parallel between doing this and fitness, because where sometimes people get caught up in when they're trying to lose weight, they think there's this pill that they can take and they're just going to lose weight like that instead of putting in the actual work. The same goes for actual skincare, and it's very true, because myself, I really didn't get into it until about a good 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said that I've been blessed, luckily enough, to have fair skin, good skin, where I don't break out. But again, it goes back to putting in that work to be able to continue to have good skin, because I'm not getting any younger. So it's one of those things, and that leads me to, because you had brought it up a little bit, such the likes of Botox and things and fillers, and we know there are adverse effects to doing things like that, but some people do resort to that. Mm-hmm. Is there ever a situation where you felt that you can escape those things, or in sometimes we kind of have to bow down to genetics and our genes and what? So like this little thing that I have going on is from my mother. Like, that's genetic. Is this little
These are your nasolabial folds, and this is your tear trough right here. So I'm a big fan of the Botox and the filler and everything. And when all this Rona is over, I'm getting some stuff done. I tell people, I have no problem telling my clients, like, listen, I'm all about the treatments. I say do it intelligently. Make sure that you know and respect the doctor that you're going to. I wouldn't go get on Groupon and try and get the cheapest Botox it is, because you can find some people are going to do that no matter what. And even if you get on Groupon and you go to one of those places like a college or something like that, or an institution, there's going to be students. They're going to be trained. They're going to be supervised. So it's better than going, to some alley or somebody's basement or something like that you don't know, but I wouldn't want no students with any Botox, you know, no matter what year students they are. You know, I want to go to the best person I can find.
Right.
And I found one of the best people here in DC. So, but, and I'll shout them out at some point too.
Yeah.
But looking for another person too, because actually, so there, actually there's a young lady, Sorrel. She does, I think it's at Sorrel NP, but she does incredible work. And I'll tag her or find some way to shout her out. But yeah, I'm a fan of it.
Okay.
I don't think that you can really escape genetics. I think that some people have good genes, and I think that if you have a good lifestyle overall, you eat well, you keep yourself in shape, try to live with a good spirit too, because I think that's important. I think, you know, just having good energy, I think is essential to looking youthful, to looking healthful, to looking vibrant, to looking alive. And I think that if you embody that, I think that you will look good for a long time, and you will look good at whatever respective age for a long time. But can you completely escape the gene train? No. That's why God invented Botox. So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I think more invasive sort of surgeries are kind of like dying out now. Like, you know, you can get like a liquid facelift, you can get liquid rhinoplasty and different things like that. And I'm here for all of that. I encourage people that, you know, if that's something that you want, then look into it, and don't let anybody allow you to feel, don't let anybody make you feel bad about that. You know, I think there's so many different like avenues for beauty and expression and creativity in the world, and that includes sometimes playing on ourselves. Some people use themselves as a canvas. Some people, you know, paint on a canvas. So whatever makes you feel good. If you want some Botox, go get you some Botox. Just go to a good doctor or a good whoever.
Right. I think it's definitely something that has now, again, aging ourselves, but back then looked at kind of, you know, obviously if you have money, you can do it, but now it's obviously becoming more widely accepted to do that. And just to fill in a couple, I have not, I don't think I would at this point. So, you know, but again, to each their own, like you said, and I'm not going to shame anyone into doing things as such. I think it's getting a better name for itself as far as, because like Ariel said, yeah, stress, no matter how healthy you are and how well you can keep yourself up, you're going to go through amounts of stress. So that's, and like I've always said, if you're ugly on the inside, most of the time it's going to show up on the outside. Yeah, it definitely does.
It's true.
It definitely does. I wanted to ask you, getting to 6'4", I know when we had spoke earlier, it was kind of like we were in the middle of Rona. Now we're still in the middle of Rona. I don't want to be remiss
about
that. Yeah, let's be very clear. We're still in the middle of the first wave. So, but with that being said, where is 6'4"? Is there anything new coming out? I know you have the fragrances now. I have to get with you after this because I do need a new skin regimen, and we'll talk about that later. But what new things do you have coming out?
So, you know, okay, well, first of all, new things coming out. So the serum is going to be reemerging. Everybody has been asking about the serum. When I first did the serum was in a mist form, or I tried to do it in a mist form, and I had ordered all these different bottles and different things like that. And then when I started putting everything together, because I had tested out the formula, but when the actual bottles got here, I didn't like the way that it sprayed out. It was too aggressive, and so I made the formula a little bit richer, and now it's going to come in dropper bottles. So that is coming back out. I'm just waiting for new label because I design all my own labels, but then I get them printed somewhere else. But those are coming back out though. For everybody who's been waiting on the serum or the mist, which is going to be rebranded as the serum, I appreciate you guys being patient. That is coming out soon, because everybody's asking about that. But as far as other new products, there's going to be another face wash that I'm working on as well, and I have the bottles for that, and so that's going to be out soon too. But I've started thinking about myself and my brand differently now. I want my brand to be really large. I want it to be successful. I want it to, to have a wide reach. But I also have realized about myself that I'm a perfectionist, and so I go back and I tweak formulas and I redo formulas sometimes because I want to make sure that that it's really right for me. And I don't have a research and development team. Again, like I said, I think I said this before too. That's not a woe is me thing. That's just the reality of it right now. So sometimes, my production time is a little bit slower than I think some other brands out here. But I'm okay with that in this moment because I really want to build something that I believe in, and I really want to make sure that I keep the integrity of my products. So I'm working in a methodical way. And I appreciate everybody who is a fan of the brand, and we're growing. And I think for me, the quality is really the most important thing, especially with the face washes, especially with the facial polishes. Because I do everything small batch, I can definitely make sure that I maintain the quality of it. And everybody who has received or purchased products has been really, really pleased with the quality. And so that's important for me. I do want to scale up, and I'm looking to do that right now. And I'm learning the business side of things. That's, I think that's really important because I consider myself really to be a creative. I think sometimes people look at me or hear the way that I speak, and they just automatically think like, oh, he has the business side, down pat. Right. But I'm really, I designed everything myself. I came up with the formulas, with the labels and the logo and everything. And that's really what makes me happy. I really want to make sure that the products themselves are efficient and fun to use and really achieve the results that it is that people are looking for. So we're building and we're growing, but I'm trying to do it in a way that really maintains the integrity of what it is that I see in my mind.
Awesome. I know we're coming to the end here. I didn't want to cut you off at any time. But for the people who don't follow you or want to follow you, run down your social media and then where they can order the products as well.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for all the questions that I get from you guys. My Instagram, if you guys don't follow me, is 64Ian. It's 64IAN. The website is 64luxury.com. That's the number 64. luxury.com, and you guys can order the products on the website. And if you guys have any questions, you guys can follow me on social media and hit me up on there. I try to get back to everybody in a timely fashion. You guys can also book appointments if you're in the DC area.
Yes.
Instagram.
He's open again.
Yes, we're open. We've got, like I said, so I do want to say that, and I know we're running out of time, so I don't want to get cut off. But I have to really, really, really stress this because I get so many questions about it. I do not do chemical peels on first-time clients, and I know people get so disappointed to hear that. But the reason that that's really important to me, and there's people. You'll find 1 minute. Okay, so I'm about to get cut off. So you'll find so many other estheticians who will do that. But I don't do chemical peels on first-time clients because I need to know how your skin is going to react, and I need to make sure that we make sure your skin is healthy before we do a chemical peel.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, Ian, thank you again for joining us. And for people who don't know, 6/4 is for his birthday. So happy belated birthday. I know I told you on that day, but happy belated birthday. And we'll chat after this.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for this platform. Thank you for having me back again. I love your channel, and I'm excited to see what else you have coming up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ian. Have a good one. All right. So I'd like to thank Ian Edwards for joining us this evening. If you are in the DC area, I was going to say text him, but DM him. He is taking appointments, so go see him. I wish I was back in the DMV. Hopefully soon I can go check him out. With 60 seconds remaining, next week's shows, Wednesday and Friday. I'm excited about next Wednesday. I will have a good friend of mine, Alex, and she is what I consider my spirituality. I don't know why I couldn't say that word. Spirituality counselor. So we're going to be talking all things about stones and the universe and keeping that good energy, especially during these times. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, have a great weekend. Happy Juneteenth. Celebrate all weekend. Please be safe. Take care of each other. Love on each other. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.